I think we all believe that we are here to serve the children. Yes, we're here to make recommendations to serve all the citizens of this great Commonwealth, but the bottom line is we are all here because we believe children want to be safe. And in Pennsylvania, they deserve to be safe. Pennsylvania has a long history of being a leader in this nation. From a political standpoint, the founding fathers, and we are doing a disservice to our children if we don't recognize that Pennsylvania needs to be a leader when it comes to protecting kids. And that's really the heart of these recommendations. As Jason pointed out, there are two systems here. One is under the Child Protective Services Law, which we refer to as the civil definition of child abuse. And one is what my brothers and the state police and my fellow prosecutors handle under the Crimes Code. What we've tried to do with these recommendations is we've tried to marry those two so that as much as we possibly can, we have consistency. And we're also requiring these two entities to work together. I know that Pennsylvania back in the 90s said we're going to require multidisciplinary teams. Well, guess what? It has to happen. Because as a prosecutor, the cases that are most successful in front of juries are the cases where you can describe to the jury the big picture. And the big picture only comes if that child feels safe, and if that child is well taken care of, and if the system centers around the child.
Let me just expand just a bit on the references that have been made to multidisciplinary investigative teams and CACs. Let me just start out with the proposition. It has seemed to me with everything I have learned, and we didn't focus this inquiry on the Sandusky matter, but it keeps unfolding in the news. I firmly believe if there had been a multidisciplinary investigative team in Center County in the late 90s, early 2000s, that you would have heard about Jerry Sandusky then, and not 10 years later, that all of the intervening victims would have been spared, and that particularly if there had also been a CAC, which is the logical outgrowth of a multidisciplinary investigative team, there would have been a conviction of him a long time before there was. Simply put, and the law presently requires this, but in a number of smaller counties it just has not proven to be feasible, or at least hasn't been done. A multidisciplinary investigative team is a group of folks who come together to investigate reports of child abuse. At a minimum, they're going to involve the appropriate police entity, someone from the prosecutor's office, and Children and Youth Services. Very frequently, it will also involve a medical component, whether a nurse or personnel of the local hospital that may be providing, or psychologists who are providing the child some assistance in that regard, may involve a number of other people. The next logical outgrowth of that is to the creation of the ability, which takes the form of a CAC, to conduct impartial, professional forensic interviewing of the child by people who don't have a dog in the fight, who are, in a sense, above that. They're specifically trained in dealing with children of whatever age. They are verbal and able to communicate in ways that are non-threatening, that are non-suggestive, so that the objective is simply to get at the truth. And Jackie just referred to the creation of additional penalties for falsely accusing. Down my way, where we have a CAC, we have put matters, particularly I can think of a few that have involved domestic situations, into the CAC and come up with absolutely no indication of support for the accusations, and in fact, in some cases, to the contrary, suggestions that those allegations have been created by an adult as opposed to something the child has experienced. So the CAC involves a physical location where the child can be talked to in a non-threatening, hopefully child-friendly environment. But the key is the trained forensic interviewer. Generally speaking, we find the most effective way, I think the consensus is to record these interviews, both audibly and ideally on videotape. And the power of this is enormous. The power of the recordings frequently lead people who have been absolutely adamant, and we've seen it in my county, we've seen it in a lot of places, to plead guilty once they've seen the tape. And the other aspect of both the MDIT and the CIT, or CAC rather, is that people hold each other responsible. These are tough cases for a lot of folks. With all of the oppressive activity with police and both law enforcement and the prosecutor's office, it's easy for these things to sort of fall by the wayside. Having multiple people responsible to each other helps prevent that from happening. I know that this, along with the various things that Ms. Bernard mentioned, are something that's strongly supported by prosecutors throughout the state. And some of the most inspiring testimony I felt we heard was from some of the folks who were making this work.